and welcome. Campbell here from Spiral Up, back with another tarot with a twist. And we have with us again Joe Gifford, and we're going to run some cards for the week of the 25th to the 30th. And if you're watching this, if you're sensing something going on, we haven't pulled the cards yet, but it seems that there is a lot of energy going on. Let's put it that way. So we'll see what the cards tell us is coming up in the next 5 days in this crazy realm. So welcome, Joe.
Hey, Campbell. How's your week been? How's your last few days been?
Good, crazy, mad. I'm just going with the flow pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like stuff that it's just unexpected world, isn't it? Like just things that you don't expect are popping out of everywhere. And so I'm just like, oh, well, I guess I'm going in that direction now.
That's right. Just go with the flow. Go with the flow.
Exactly.
Try and the way I view it is it's like you're at the beach and you're in the water, but close to the shore, but not quite with your feet on the ground. And you've got your toes dug in and the waves come and you dig your toes in and you resist the waves. What I feel is the way to move through what's coming is to let your toes, take the toes out of the sand and just flow and be at peace with the ebb and the flow, with the movement of what's happening and what's coming. And about anything that's coming in your life. If what you resist, you are going to get into trouble.
Yeah. What you resist persists.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, so some language is coming through, if I may.
You may.
Ide zute miata, ingekutsea, ashtie shushenza, igegoka, ezataya shtushtea shushanba akike, ezutoya. So they're words of comfort. Ejundaya siotaya, ikokatsia toboshtenza akike, ezutoyo shusheata. You have many more resources within you than you think. And often it is in times of challenge that you dig deep and you find who you are. You find resources that you didn't know that you had. And so there's a benefit in a way.
There you go. It's a lot like superheroes, isn't it? You know, all superheroes, forged in fire, if you want to say. They all go through all these trials and everything, and then they find that the power's always been inside them.
That's it. We are our own superhero. Yeah.
Definitely.
I know. So it's not easy, but the rewards are great.
And I think we make it as easy or as hard as it is. Like you mentioned with resistance, if we resist things or if we hold on to past paradigms, then we make it hard on ourselves. If we go with the flow and just accept that we're here for the ride, then it's so much easier.
Yeah. And to take that, the bigger perspective, step out and look at it for the big picture. And the big picture is that there is an amazing change happening on the planet. And again, the rewards will be worth it. The outcome will be worth it. And if it was just handed it to us on a plate, it wouldn't be the rich experience it could be, and it will be.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't value it.
Yeah. Indakoketsa achietso komoki kamatsea. Izutushte yambukoyatsa atia shoshana. Izetuka shosha. Okay. So, ujieto kumuyatskimika. Eshote yestu shikokonde kotska atikokacha atsiete kuimbukotika ska akatuchika. So just breathe and feel. Okototodike kumbochiko takatotodiki kokota babatodiki kotochika andakokota. Is the Kotodi Kumbukuchka Asaka Njik Unget Skushka Unzika Ushka Unzik Skachka Nzik Umbukutika. Uzuka Dakat Skatikamba. Oceana Mataka Skatika Unjet Saputka Skinze Tuka. Okay, so have a few breaths. It's a breath taker. Okie dokie. All right. So first, I pulled out 6 cards. So 2, 2, and 2 to give a general thing. So the first 2 cards are these 2. So this is this being is at the top of her game. This being has arrived. This being is accomplished and confident. So know that you are ready to cope. Know that you are ready to deal with what's coming. You, like we see ourselves again as helpless human beings, as this mortal flesh, but we're not. We're not. Know that we wouldn't be here in this moment if we were not ready for it. So what is going to happen is we are going to have to draw on that resource within us. The second card is, it is about self-love, but it's also about connecting with intuition. This is, again, trusting your gut. When you begin to know the truth of who you are and you start to find those inner resources, you will find that intuition, you will find that connection to something greater. So that's one of the things that comes out in challenges. When you're at the wall is at your back. I can't think of the phrase, but when you are pushed against the wall ready.
Yeah. Backs against the wall.
That's it. You find that depth, you find that intuition, and it will suddenly kick in a different way as well. So that's about this week. That's one of the 2 cards for this week. The next 2 are about astuteness and being wily, being not being emotional, but using your nous, knowing when to go forward and when to retreat. This is about truth and independence. And this is about justice, but it's also being astute. So in this week, try not to be emotional, but to pull out and to find that nous, that intelligence, that being able to smell the wind. What's on the wind? Ingo kachatsu so umbetu steasi otakamaki katsa atieshtushena. Oh yeah, my yeah, ni yeah, no yeah, mo yeah, mo. I yeah, mo yeah, oh yeah, oh. I am oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. Eziandushte ziande bikea, ezutushte astustamakike, injukadatika. Okay. So these are the two cards.
Ooh.
So this is not exactly as it seems on the card. It is the end of an old and the beginning of a new. It is profound transformative change is coming. So this is alchemization. This is the turning of the iron into the gold. And this is not just on a personal level, it's on a greater level, a bigger level, a more worldwide level. The end of an old and the beginning of a new. And it's going to ask you to draw upon your resources to have compassion and care for others. To empathize, to help and support. So essentially, you are going to be given an opportunity to embody higher aspects of yourself this week. More, not that we're not evolved, but a broader aspect of ourselves, the part of ourselves that does have that bigger viewpoint, that does have that far-seeing eye, that can see beyond the horizon with their astuteness, with their knowledge, with their experience. So let me pull.
So yeah, it seems like it's a lot to do with helicopter view is what I call it, but going above it all and having a bigger perspective, because it's so easy to get hyper focused on all the stories and all this is happening and this is going on, and of course all of that is really negative. It's bad. It's not the positive side. So yeah, that's great advice to sort of detach from all of that and get a bigger picture, because the bigger picture is mankind is rising everywhere. That's the bigger picture of what's going on here on Earth, is the energy and the people are rising, and that's undeniable. But if you get fixated on the news and all this kind of stuff, and even social media, you will start to focus in on the bad points, and that's not really what's happening here. But your energy, you're then giving to that viewpoint, and you're helping to create it, basically.
Yes. And, there are things that have been in place for a long time, and they're not just going to disappear overnight. There's a dismantling that has to happen, a dismantling. And I think I mentioned in one of the other videos, it might have been the Tartaria one, that in our quest for the Crystal City, about there are, in a way, it's like there are struts around the old. When you build a structure, they have, what is it called that goes around
scaffolding?
Scaffolding. I'm having a I can't find words either. Which means which means that you're in a different part of your brain when you can't.
Oh, is that what okay. Yeah. Wow. I've been there lots lately.
Well, that's my intuition on it. That
I'm going with that. That's great.
That we're living in another part that isn't as hooked into the old ways.
Into the program, yeah.
Yeah. And so you start to forget names and like how you spell words that you've spelt your entire life. So the scaffolding is coming down on the old world, the scaffolding that has held it in place. And it is by us, if we only focus on this, then it makes that the scaffolding sort of can stay in place, the old world can stay in place. So take your focus from time to time off and focus on that new world and start putting scaffolding up to create that. Start with, and you do that through your focus, through your imagination, through your visualization, through feeling into it, through tapping into what it feels like. What will it feel like? What does it feel like? Because it's already there. Estu shenza miyanda kika. Esu teostu stenze kokambatse. Ingetzutena. Ishutako kikombachote etizakamaka. Esu tushtako ukombo etekikamaka. So, intuitive communication is the other card that I pulled out, the last one. And this says at the bottom, silent whispers of the heart. So the intuition comes from in here, inside your being, not necessarily from here. Feel in.
Monkey mind.
Feel like clairsentience. That is feeling in and getting, if I go that way, how does that feel? If I go take that path, does that feel discordant inside of me? Or when I think of that path, does that feel warm and supportive? That's another way that you receive guidance, through feeling what is. So as I said, some people get words, some people get visions, other people feel. So when you feel, how does that feel that way? So whispers, silent whispers of the heart.
Nice. And I think, being who we are, if you're watching this video, we know there's a lot of stuff going to go down, and I think, it's going to fall on us to be that support system for all these people who don't understand, who are trapped in the system, because some of the information that's going to come out is just going to rock, that's going to destroy their world in a day, right? We've been able to break our lives down over, years and decades, depending. But these people are going to go through it in a day. So that's, I think, keep that in mind too, is, it's not their fault, right? We've just got to act as a support system rather than a judgment system and all this kind of stuff. And of course, there's been a lot of talk of this split and, are people going to go down and people are going to rise and all this, but at the end of the day, we don't know. But what we do know is our energy and our intention affects things. So, the best thing we can always do is just support people in love and not judge. I think it all comes back to that, really.
Yeah, and if you do find yourself judging, what are they showing you about you? And I was going to say that we've had some interesting comments on some of these videos. And, at my age, I've been round the block a few times. So I'm fine. But my first thought is, who hurt them so much that that's the only way they can deal with the hurt inside of them, to direct it at another. I would say that if you judge anything, it doesn't matter in a way what the other person is saying or doing on one level. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong, or good or bad, whether they're spiritual or a witch. It doesn't matter. If you are somebody worth your salt on this planet at this moment, you need to look within. You need to go, why does that irk me so much? And do some self-exploration. And that makes you preservable for this new world. It makes you a frequency match. And you may still have anger. You may still have judgment. But because you're willing to go, what is it? It's the step. It's the first step.
That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
willow tree, the analogy that willow and the oak, you know, in a big storm, the oak is unbending and will not bend. So it snaps, it gets
Yeah.
broken. The willow goes with the flow and it can withstand the storm because it's willing to change, you know, change its form, change, you know, different things. So that's, I think that's, and we're seeing this everywhere is, you know, paradigms are breaking down, and even with awake people, you know, because what's awake, right? We're all on different levels of awake or waking up, if you want to call it that. There is no awake. There is no point where you hit and you're like, oh, I made it. Now I'm awake. You know, that doesn't exist. It's like, it's just a big ladder that goes to infinity. So yeah, so no matter how, you know, woke or awake you think you are or you are, we've all got stuff to deal with, you know, or else if you didn't, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Okay, you wouldn't be here. So yeah, just check yourself when things come up. You know, stop and smell the roses. Don't react. Stop and smell the roses. You know, what do I really think and feel about this, and then act. Because when you react, you're just replaying the program, and that's just holding you in the program.
Yeah.
It's fixating you to the old system, and you know that system. If you haven't noticed, it's in free fall, guys. It's not going to be there very long.
That's right.
So it's definitely not something to attach yourself to.
Yeah, because most people are conditioned to respond to these situations without thinking. That's the programming that we're in, and we are like Pavlov's dog. We have no control over that salivation that the dog goes through in that experiment. And so what is it to evolve? What is an evolving human being? Somebody that observes their conditioned responses and steps out and questions, where did that come from? Is it the truth? How could I approach this in a different way?
Exactly. Because without questions, you know, well, without a problem, you can't question it, right? You can't fix something that you don't know is wrong. So, yeah, definitely take that time, guys. And remember that question, most of the word question is quest. And it's about time you all went on a bit of a quest, I think, you know, internally and externally. Go on a quest. You know, get the sword out, get your shield out, and go in there and slay those monsters. And you know, do the journey, do the quest, come out the other side with the prize, right? That's what it's all about. This is this story we get over and over and over and over again. And I think we're living it now. So, you know, you can go with that, you can believe that, or you cannot. It's completely up to you, because you have free will and freedom of choice. But I think it's more fun to go on a quest with a sword and a shield myself.
Yeah. Yes. New ground, break new ground.
Definitely. And understand the power's in there. Whatever you come up against, you have the power to overcome. And there are no mistakes. They're all just mistakes.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, it looks like a good place to end it. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you, Jo. Now, I will leave Jo's links below. Go and check out her channel. She's got lots more content there. And she's also putting up a weekend reading every Friday, which I'm linking also in Telegram and on this channel. So make sure you check that out as well. And if you want a personal reading by Jo, you'll find a link below for that as well. So have an amazing week, guys. Look inside yourself, because there's greatness in there. And we'll talk to you all next week with another reading. Thank you, Jo.
Good morning.